Welcome back to the shed, everyone. As you saw in the last video that I posted, I built a book press, and with that book press I made some wood block prints. Now I thought with Christmas rushing up and coming up at high speed, I thought I'd make some picture frames and actually frame some of these prints up and give them as gifts over Christmas. So that's what we're going to be doing in the shed today. So that's what we're going to make. That's what we're going to put together for some Christmas gifts. I hope you come along for the ride and enjoy some fun in the shed. Cheers. This is some oak skirting board. You can see that I was given by my mate John. He was having a clean out and he had a few lengths of this knocking around the place, so I thought this would be perfect to make picture frames out of. And I've got a few lengths of this, so it should give me enough to do all the picture frames. First job is to cut them into rough lengths. You'll see here I'm cutting them through the nail holes that were put into the skirting board, so that pretty much all the wood between the nail holes is perfect to use. Then we just slice them in half. So a slight change of plan. So that's the profile cut in half. Okay, my idea was I was going to trim off this edge and then cut a recess for the frame and that, but it's already got the recess in it. So what I've done is we'll just cut the mortise like that and have the frame sloping from the inside out. It looks quite good, I thought. And that means I've already got the recess cut into the boards. The only thing we need to clean up, as you can see, the edges of these boards have been knocked around a bit because they were skirting boards. Obviously when they were taken off, there's little chips in that taken off. So what I'll do is I'll just skim a cut along this edge here just to tidy that edge up, and then they'll be good to go, I reckon. Here I'm cleaning up the edge with the block plane. This will be easier to do now than when trying to clean up those edges once the frames have been assembled. I'd just given this plane a sharpen and a little bit of a tune up, and it's nothing more pleasurable than using something that's just been perfectly sharpened and taken off very fine shavings. It does a real nice job when it's set up right. This is a jig that I built in a previous video on my first picture frame that I ever made. This cuts absolutely perfect 45s, which is really the key to making good picture frames. If your 45s ain't perfect and square, then you're going to run the battle of trying to glue them together. There's always going to be gaps, and they're always going to look pretty crappy. But with this little sled and the ability to cut that perfect 45, as you can see, it just makes the assembly and the joints of the frame so much nicer. You can see here I put a stop block, so all the lengths will be perfectly the same length, and it should technically, when I go to glue these together, they should form really nice tight joints. Just cleaning up the fluff that the saws created on the edge, and then to glue these together I just use tape, masking tape, and then I run the tape around the corners, as you can see here. I butt the ends up and the tape's what creates the clamping force when you close them up. You can see here I'm putting some glue on. Make sure I put plenty on because you don't want to have a starved joint when you do these frames. This is the moment you'll know how well you've done on your 45 corners. As you roll this up, you'll feel the tightness of it as the tape is pulling on the joints and the joints are closing up. And because the jig has created perfect 45s and the timber's all square, it should all squeeze together and create really nice joints. From here I just run some tape around the outside just to give it a little bit more clamping force and hold it all together. And then it's just a matter of cleaning off the excess glue. And this is the result you should get. Perfect 45s, nice, tight, clean joints. I've let these dry for about 4 hours, and then I come back in and just take the tape off, and the frames are all nicely fitted together and ready to go for the next stage, which will be we'll be putting some splines into the corners.
One thing that just strikes me about the schedule though, and it's kind of disappointing, is that my eye equally on Australian does it later on, and I'm just hoping.
So this is my spline making jig. As you can see, it's just a couple of 45 blocks attached to a base, and then the frame drops into those, and then you run it along the fence, and you can adjust the depth and how big the spline joint is by just adjusting the table height. You can see I just run it through, and you've got nice little cut joints to run some splines in. Here I'm just I've cut some splines to thickness, and I'll just cut them to length, and then it's just a process of putting some glue on. And then you just push them in. They should be snug, but not super tight. A lot of people say that you put splines in to add more strength to the frame. I don't know how much more strength these actually do add to the frame. They would add some strength, but I like putting them in because I reckon they look cool, and that's pretty much why I do it. Once these are dry, I then cut them out. You can see I'll cut from the front and then cut from the back. That's to stop it chipping off through the spline joint and leaving a gap in the end, which you want to try and avoid. Once I've cut off the excess, I'll then smooth them back to the frame with using the little block plate. So I brought a new toy for the next stage. This is a curved scraper, card scraper. These things are perfect for removing old varnish or lacquer left on the, as you can see on the skirting boards. Do a really quick, fast and clean job. From there, it's just some sanding. I go through 3 stages of grits for these picture frames, which is just the 120, 180 and 240. For finish, once again, this is just Danish oil. I find this is a real simple finish but effective finish, especially when you're working in a dusty old workshop. It works really well. All I pretty much do is put a coat on and then let that sit for 10 minutes and then buff off the excess with the cloth. I'll give these frames 2 coats, and between the coats I'll sand with a 320 just to take any nibs off or dust or marks off, and then give them another coat, and then from there I'll give them a coat of wax. Alright, so that's the frames done. Next thing is let's assemble them. These prints are a copy of a photograph I took of a full moon over a bay that I live close to called Shelley Bay. And that's why I've called the prints Moonlight over Shelley Bay. So this is the componentry we're going to need to put the picture frames together. You've got the glass, picture frame or paper tape, picture frame pins for the back, you'll see them used. Of course the prints, which I've signed, you've seen me sign. This is a matting cutter, which puts a little 45-degree cut into the back of the matting board. You'll see that used. We've got backing board, which is just rigid card, I suppose. I've got a cutting mat, sharp knife, string hangers. That's the string, obviously. I'm going to use this screwdriver to hammer in the picture frame clips. Yeah, so, and of course matting board, which is a nice white piece of clean board, which we've got to cut the little square out of the middle of, which will sit over the print and keep the print off the front of the glass. Alright, so those are all the components. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the backing board and we're going to cut all that to size. It's a relatively easy thing. I thought I'd start with that because it is a relatively easy thing and I shouldn't stuff it up. Alright, let's get on to that. I find the best approach when trying to cut heavy card like this with a sharp knife is never try and do it in one go. It's better to do a lot of light passes with the knife and slowly cut through the heavy card than trying to push it through in one go. If you try that, it generally ends in disaster, if not cutting yourself. This is the mat bore. If anything, this is what terrified me most about the whole process. Is, you know, it's lovely and white and lovely flat texture on the surface, and me being me, I was very very careful not to get it dirty. So that's the top side, and that's the back. First things we've got to do is mark the line on the back where we want to cut. What I've done is I've made a spacer here at the distance that I want. And we mark all the way around. Alright, so we've marked all the way around. Now we cut it. I made a little jig up here. Now this will go under here like that. We then line the square up to that line, like so. So then the cutter comes back. It's got a mark on the back here that then you align to just on the outside of that line. Push the blade down and then push it across with keeping even pressure. And then what we're looking for is that same mark to make it to the other side of the line. And do the clamp. Alright, so that's one cut. We flip around and do another one. And if everything's still aligning, it should just slide in like that. Lock the clamp down. Mark on the edge of the line, push the blade in and cut. Alright, so theoretically what that means is that should just drop out like that. And we've got a card that's got a lovely 45 angle cut on the outside, and we just check the size. Everything's looking good. Next one. I used a little bit of double-sided tape on the print to apply it to the mat frame. Once I get it in the alignment and right in the middle, I then stick it down and then just trim off the excess. And now she's ready to go in the frame. I spent a little bit of time making sure the glass was clean, because there'd be nothing worse than putting all the frame together and having it all done and then there's a big greasy thumbprint in the middle of it. So I made sure the glass was absolutely clean before I proceeded to put the backing on. And the last thing to do is put some string holders into the back of the frame. These are a third way down the frame. But the only thing to remember when doing this is make sure you put it on the right side. Don't ask me how I know this, but it is quite important the string is running in the horizontal position of your art print. So there we go, a whole lot of finished framed art prints. I'm very pleased with the result. I think they look really good, considering it was my first real proper professional go at picture framing with the matte paper and cutting 45s and getting that all sorted. I love how the frames have come out of just a piece of old skirting board. It's amazing what you can do. The whole process is really just reminding me why I enjoy mucking around in the shed, because just from one simple job of making a book press for my daughter, all of a sudden it runs off in tangents in different directions by making a block print, a wooden block print, making some prints, then making some picture frames, and now I've got a whole lot of gifts that I can give to people, and hopefully they'll appreciate them. And if they don't like the prints, they can always pull them out and put in something else that they like in there. I don't think there'd be much I'd change. I think the splines look good. I think the shape of the frames look good. I think the proportions look good. Yeah. Simple, easy project and very effective, and I think hopefully people will like them as gifts. So that's another wrap for another year. Thank you for watching all my videos. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for any comments you've left. I appreciate everyone that watches my videos. I appreciate all my 650 subscribers. I know I'm no viral YouTuber out there, and I do appreciate people watching my videos. So I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you all drink and eat and laugh in excess. I look forward to carrying on in the new year and you joining me for some more projects in the shed. I've got a couple of outdoor projects planned. So lots of things to do. I've got lots of ideas of stuff I want to make and build. So I hope you continue to join me for the for the future videos and the future experiences, and hopefully some entertainment that I can give you. Once again, thanks for the support. Keep safe out there, and we'll see you in the new year. On to the next project.